What is everybody? Today we are in Port Everglades here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for Fleet Week. If you don't know what Fleet Week is, it's when the Navy comes in town and lets the public tour their ships. It's a unique opportunity for the public to basically just see the Navy's capabilities and what they are proud of, and it gives you a sense of pride in your own country. So I managed to get a private tour on 3 ships. First one was a submarine, USS Indiana, which we did in the last video. So this is part 2. If you haven't seen it already, that's okay. You can watch it at the end of the video. I'll have a pop-up for you or a link in the description. You can just click right after and go watch it. It is my favorite tour of the 3. I will just say that up front, so don't miss out on that video. Today we're gonna tour the USS Cole, which was bombed in 2000 by Al-Qaeda suicide bombers, and it was patched up and then brought back into service. And we're gonna tour USS New York, which is a really big ship, an amphibious ship, I believe is what they're technically called. And they allowed these big vessels and vehicles to go right on the back. And it's just so cool. You guys are gonna get an inside look by a tour guide. They're gonna show us all around, and I'm gonna ask my own questions because I'm sure I will have some questions, and then we're gonna go on from there. So don't wanna make this intro too long. Let's go and tour some really cool ships. Boarding the USS New York right now.
I am Chief Howland. I'll be your tour guide today. So right here we have our well deck and our main vehicle storage area. As you can see, there's already some vehicles stored here, along with one of our LCACs, which we have actually sunk the ship and brought up to bring into the well deck so we can bring it on board. Before we get started with the rest of the tour, you're going to be able to see that at the end. Before we get started with the rest of the tour, we have to go over safety, right? We are on an active warship. There are things on the deck, things on the deck head, and things on the bulkheads all around you. Trips, slips, falls. Please watch your head, arms, feet. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the ride at all times. Just kidding. But from here, we're going to head up to the upper V. This is a very steep ramp, so please watch your step. So welcome to our upper vehicle storage area. On board New York, we hold about 380 sailors, and 3 Marines at any given time. But fully outfitted deployment, that goes up to 700. So when they have to bring all their gear, as you have seen downstairs, the vehicles, they got to stow them up here. You'll see on the wall, we have chains to tie them down, and these little pad eyes, which are covered for your safety, where they get chained to the deck. You can see more of it when we get to the flight deck. On board USS New York, this ship is an active warship, but it is also a 9/11 memorial ship. You'll see these painted pillars in light blue, dark blue, and red. This signifies the Port Authority, the New York Police Department, and the New York Fire Department. On board our ship also, the keel of the ship. So the keel is the backbone of the whole ship. You can actually change every piece on the ship except the keel, and the soul of the ship stays in it. So our ship in the bow, there are 7.5 tons of steel from the World Trade Center built into it. If you look right behind us here, you'll actually be able to get a closer picture when we get up the flight deck. This is the largest piece of recovered steel from the wreckage, and it has all of the responders companies on there. So these 2 windows here are going to be your best view, along with the placard that gives a more in-depth description for you. Please watch your step. This is another steep ramp. So due to the weather, we won't stay out here long. This is our flight deck. We're going to talk more about it once we get into the hangar bay. But this is our memorial painting. Free photo op for anybody who wants one. But yeah, this is our flight deck. And then if you'll head inside with me to the hangar bay, we'll talk more about it. Get y'all in some air conditioning and out of the rain. So thanks to our aviation team, you're going to see lovely paintings that were done by former crew members on the ship. We have a lot of pride in the work we do. We like to show it off sometimes. So these paintings of the helos and the aviation boats are from the sailors on board the ship now or before us. Our flight deck can actually hold 2 Ospreys, 2 Sea Stallions, and either 4 SH-60s or 4 Hueys on the deck at any time, plus whatever aircraft we can store in here. As you see, we have it kind of decorated. This is how we would do ceremonies, put a stage up, do re-enlistments, pinning ceremonies or just get-togethers in other countries for dignitaries. As you'll also notice in here, you have smaller pad eyes, very similar to the ones I spoke of downstairs. These are to tie the helos down. The ship moves around, so we don't need the trucks moving, we don't need the aircraft moving, and they all get chained down. You can actually see on our tractors, this is how we drive the aircraft in and out of the hangar bay, very similar to you would see at an airport. We do the same kind of thing here. We want them to move safely on board the ship. That whole door will open, and they come in and out of here.
So essentially, it's, along with the storage space, this is like a big garage.
Yes, this is where they do all the work on the aircraft. If there's any stormy bad weather, they'll bring them in here to keep them safe, right? As you can see, these are what we call chalked and chained. The little chalks that hold the wheels, right? Anything with wheels, nothing needs to move. Yeah. You'll see here on the wall behind us, we have the Never Forget. That's our ship slogan, right? This is a memorial ship to 9/11. And our ship's crest, you'll notice in the ship's crest there are 3 stars. Those were stars earned during wars on the previous battleship New York. So every night on the ship when we do evening prayer, the chaplain always starts with a person of the day. So of all the names you see on this list, we pick a person of the day, and the chaplain will speak all about them and their family and their life from the friends that remember them before we have our evening prayer. From here, we're going to go straight into medical. This door is a little pressurized, so bear with me just a moment. Please watch your step on the change. You will trip. These are boundary zones for safety. This is an airlock door. So welcome to our mass casualty setup. This is only used in medical. This is part of medical. It's used in the event of a mass casualty where a lot of people get hurt. Most of the time we use it for training for things like CPR. Right, but in here, if we had a whole bunch of Marines or even sailors get injured, we lay all the cots out. They'll be able to hook them up and do basic triage to figure out who's the worst, who's the best, and what they can bandage up and send on their way. The fun fact here is the door in the back is actually a 2-person morgue, because unfortunately not everyone here comes back breathing. The other part of this is our CPS boundary zone. As you noticed when we came in, this is an airlock. So in the case of some kind of chemicals or bad air outside, anyone injured wouldn't be able to come into a regular airlock chamber. So they will bring them in through here. We'll still get them cleaned and washed and ready to go and get them in so they can get some medical attention. So normally we take our covers off while we're in medical. It is out of respect to the dead. The other place we would take our covers off is the mess decks. We'll get to that point. But it's for the same reason. On a small enough ship, the operating table and the dining table are the same place. So I'm sure the sub guys can tell you all about it.
I mentioned the dock because this is also Doc's operating table should he need to operate on someone. So again, huge use of space, multiple different uses for different things.
That's our pre-op. Please don't be alarmed. There is a dummy in here. I had some people panic. So this is one of our 3 battle dressing stations on board. Currently, we have 1 dentist, 1 doctor, and 15 corpsmen that help all the sailors on a day-to-day. We just come down here if we get sick or we need dental. I need a filling, so it's okay. I'm going to get it done on Monday.
All right.
But in here we have set up like, this is our mobile x-ray unit along with our crash cart. So our dummy lost an arm, so they're going to triage them together. But they get some practice in, right? We use props instead of anybody real persons. We don't want to injure any real sailors, so all of this is props, but we will put sailors in fake damage and let the corpsmen treat them. Since we're an amphibious ship, we also have a casualty receiving and treatment ship. That's what we are. We have 2 full surgical dentals and 2 full operating rooms. So we'll get the fleet surgical team with us on deployment. And we can get patients from land, patients from other vessels, anyone that needs help, that we can get them the help they need and then get them on their way. On here, we actually have an ICU that can hold 6 people and 20 beds in the ward to take care of anyone basic injured. All right, we're going to head on out to Broadway. This is actually the dental room to my left, but we can't go in there because they have patients.
The whole HIPAA thing.
Pressurize it.
Yeah.
We're going to do 2 groups because otherwise I got to fight the door. And you'll hear
What
it.
happens if you don't do that?
It'll, like, see these?
Eye open?
These are to protect us so that it doesn't break your face. So this is outside. So you saw that decontamination station. In the case of any kind of chemical attack, bad stuff in there, anything we don't need to breathe, that airlock, you have to close it. It'll push the air in and out to equalize it to the next space, and you come in and out of the contaminated area. So anything you see with this flight deck grade non-skid is what we call it. This is outside. So this is actually called Broadway. It's a double wide P-way. As you can see, this is the only P-way on the ship that will run all the way from the aft end of the flight deck to the forward forecastle of the ship. Runs the whole length of the ship. We use it to move ammo, cargo, and other such things. It got its name Broadway from the painting down the hall. I'll show you in a minute. But the big thing here, ABFC Sanchez, a former sailor on our ship, his family actually donated this. This is the memorial wall with all the names of the lives lost on 9/11, along with the first 13 firefighters, first responders, and all of the patches from their units that responded. This is a big sobering moment for most of us on the ship.
And that's just Company 54 right there.
Yes, the first one to respond. So we're going to head on through to Broadway. Please feel free to take all the photos you like. As you can see in this P-way, we don't have a lot of free space on the ship, so this is where we put our exercise gear so sailors can still get a workout while we're underway during our downtime. Of course, it's New York, so as you see on the wall, the reason Broadway got its name is from all of the Broadway playbills on the wall. Fun fact here, you will see some of them are signed. These were signed by cast members of the plays while they visited the ship in New York. As we get around the corner here, you're going to see a couple of grills near the door. Those are used underway for what we call a Steel Beach picnic. Right, we don't hit port in a long time. We get some downtime by taking the grills out to the flight deck, throw some hamburgers and hot dogs, have a little football, have a little downtime, a little fun while we're underway. So you'll see those over here to the left, and we're going to hang this way.
Fire these things up, and then you can have 1 or 2 beers. That's it.
You'll also see the elevators. These are for moving cargo or ammunition up and down the ship because you can't take them through the stairs. As we spoke of earlier, the first decon station was for medical. The one we're passing right now from this door through here outwards is a normal decon station for those who can walk. Yes, there are windows. On the off chance someone gets hurt, we need to be able to see what's going on. You're going to see around the ship we have these as our firefighting gear here. Along with everywhere on the ship, you'll see the hoses set up so that we can respond to a fire anywhere on the ship that we need to go. On our way up, you're going to see a blue sign in front of us. That's the wardroom. Fun fact about our wardroom, it has the largest collection of silver in the Navy. Most of it came from the battleship before us, Battleship New York, but several pieces were donated by members of families from 9/11. So a lot more pieces in there. There is also 2 fishing poles in there that represent the Twin Towers for us, but they were used to take down one of the Benghazi terrorists in 2014. So unfortunately, they're probably still eating chow, so I can't take you in that one. Yes. They were used as part of their disguise for the dev crew.
Wow.
They were donated to the ship after. That's the galley for the wardroom where the officers eat. Come through. This one should be okay to leave the door open for a minute. Do you want to go through?
Sure.
Can you grab the door for me?
Like 1 person in there.
Get the VIP tour. So welcome to the wardroom. This is where our officers eat. As I mentioned before, you can see the largest collection of silver. They have a bunch of the gifts in here too, along with all the silver. The silver that came from the families came through the Tiffany and Company. So welcome to our mess decks. In here is the galley where they do all our food cooking, and then we would have trays set up to come along and feed them. This is the side for our Marines mainly. The wood plaque behind me is where the chief's mess is. That's where all our chiefs eat. I can't take you in there. What happens in the chief's mess stays in the chief's mess. But as you'll notice again, more medical, more firefighting equipment. In here, there are 2 guitars that were donated by Ted Nugent and Daryl Worley. They're both signed. There's a VFW memorial in the center with all the names of all the lives lost, along with pieces of the rubble from 9/11. As you see, we have our ship's crest in the floor as part of the memorabilia. You'll also notice many jerseys around here. They were all donated from people of New York or sports members of New York. They're mostly signed jerseys. In the back, we actually have a Jets room dedicated to the football team, and the first class mess where our first class seat are working on changing that one into a Giants fans room. But we can take a little walk around. You can see all around you here. It's just a horseshoe. This is where our sailors come to eat, come to hang out. You'll see all the memorabilia that's all been donated.
Because I was on the submarine yesterday, and everything there was made from scratch, but that's because they can't, resurface.
Yes, there's
Everything
mostly
here is-
frozen and made from scratch.
You don't have any of those limitations here, or do you still make everything from scratch here?
Not some of it, right? We do like bags of sliced bread for peanut butter and jelly. Our ship's favorite is Uncrustables. It's their snack of choice. But not nearly the limitations, right? We have refrigerator and freezer capabilities all the time.
Okay.
So we will do what's called a replenishment at sea. We'll line up next to another ship and we'll bring all the stores over, and then we'll have all of our food ready to go. We have the luxury of doing that anytime we need to, vice the submarine who has to stay underwater for long periods of time. Here you'll notice the palmia table. Every mess decks on every ship has one. It is our memorial to those missing in action or prisoners of war. You'll see the salt, the lemon, the flags, the rose. Each of these has significance. I won't go into detail. It's all explained on the plaque for you. But no one sits there out of respect. We had one of the tourists offer to bring us a Bills helmet, so we're holding our breath.
I know my mission is on Bills stuff.
I will let you peek in it. Check out here first, and then I'll let you peek in it. But as you see, sign football, sign helmet.
Anyone can sit in here, Chief?
We do. We don't do it on a regular. Like, we come in the evenings and things, watch games and other such.
Just kind of like a rec room almost.
Yeah. I mean, if when we are fully embarked, it will be another eating area because we just have so many people. That is, the galley is capable of feeding 800 people for 4 meals a day. And you get 2 hours for each meal. That's 800 people in 2 hours. You want to see it real quick? Come on. It's nothing special. They get their own TV. That's it.
They get their own space.
So our first classes eat in here. They also host boards in here for qualifications or meetings. But we can head back out and go on up.
We also interact with everyone from this day. He has his second class.
Last one, I promise. So as you see here, this is a piece of twisted steel from the Twin Towers. The pieces of wood behind it. While the USS New York was in the shipyard in Louisiana, Hurricane Katrina hit, and the ship next to it sank. The New York was unaffected. So the pieces of wood behind it are actually from the ship that sank. Welcome to the pilot house. This is where we drive the ship from. We have a fireman jacket here. It was worn by Lieutenant Bill Butler on 9/11. He was inside the North Tower carrying a woman out that had an injured ankle when it collapsed. It was donated to our ship on a visit to New York City for Veterans Day in 2015. We'll go outside here and let y'all get a better view since it's not raining. Blast door. So this is what we call a bridge wing. Yep, lookouts. You can still see the front of the ship, but it is going to put the submarine. But this is where the anchors are, down to the front of the ship. Right, forecastle, the very end of the bow where the jackstaff hits the hull. That's where the World Trade Center steel is melted into it. Smelted, excuse me, smelted is the word. The chains you see on the forecastle are the ship anchor chains. They support 2 anchors that weigh 13 tons each. Fun fact for you, these little pill cases that you see, those are life raft for the ship. We can either pull it or they get saltwater activated and will release for us to be.
How many people can fit on one of those?
It's around
Lieutenant Unit
20,
Bottle,
25 for I think
please
10 to
dial
15 days.
2912.
20 to 25 to 10 to 15 days, but no one eats or drinks on the first day because you're not allowed to. Yeah, you'll feel the difference. I got pulled in. So here we have the CO's office, and this is known as the CO's ladderwell. As you see, this is what we call fancy work, wrapped in the colors, right? Red, dark blue, light blue, same colors we talked about before. This was actually done by BM2 Cardenas on a boat. So it's the only place on the ship you'll still see the fancy work. Fancy work itself was originally designed to protect the wood, right? Ramps used to be made out of wood, out of teak especially. But the fancy work was designed to protect it from the salt water and the elements. We use it now as a decorative piece for the CO's ladderwell. So this is just the other side of the mess decks. There's a door on the corner here that belongs to our command master chief. He's the senior most enlisted person on the ship. So welcome to what we call the subway stop. The tiles were actually donated from the New York Subway Transit Authority. It's just decorative, it's not memorial for us. The tile was donated, right? It has our ship logo, never forget on it. I promise this definitely smells better than a New York subway. Now, fun fact about this puts us at about halfway to the center of the ship. Most sailors here use this as a guide, especially when you first come on board, to learn where things are, right? From the subway stop, you go up, down, left, right, back, forwards. This is their key navigational beacon. Directly below us, 2 decks. One deck is a berthing. The second deck has our chapel and our library. So for some downtime for the sailors or their religious services.
Which deck did we board on? Is it this one that we're on right now? Or
I will give you a description of how we get on and off the ship with a bullseye at the end of the tour.
Okay.
Sound good? It'll help you learn how we navigate.
Okay, sounds good.
To our left here is an AFFF station. It's how we fight fires on a ship in mass volume. Right, sometimes water or CO2 is not efficient on a fire on a ship, so that'll blanket the fire with foam, and we have to do it in mass quantities. So here on the wall, just a bunch of more donated patches and signs from everywhere in all the battalions and things in New York. Our last space of the day is going to be a berthing. So as you see, as we've transited, the deck has changed colors. It kind of tells you who works where. Most of the time, Navy people, navy blue, work on blue decks. The red deck would be damage control of some sort, or Marines. So when we get to the berthing, it's a very Marine berthing because it's all red. The only privacy you get is a little curtain. So it's you and about, I don't know, 80 to 90 of your closest friends sharing toilets and showers, and everything you own is in your coffin locker. So it goes under your mattress. You just pick it up, all your stuff's right there, or a little tiny stand up, and that's all they get. To bring anything and everything you can bring on board. So again, they get their rack. This lifts up everything under it. They have a little tiny storage locker, and then you'll see these little stand-ups past me here. That's all the space you get, and this is your privacy. That little curtain, all the privacy you get. So. You'll notice the little orange boxes too. This is, so you guys have your quick escape stuff. These are the EEBDs. They give us about 12 minutes of oxygen to get out of the space if there's a fire. So a little bit different than you guys. So this is a bullseye. It's how we navigate the ship. You asked the question a minute ago.
Yeah.
So Broadway, the one that runs the whole length of the ship, that's the main deck because it runs the whole length of the ship. Okay. Right, so as you go down, 1, 2, 3, 4, right, all the way down. Anytime you go up from there, we're going to come this way, there's someone coming in. Anytime you go up from there, it's called O Country, where the officers work, so it goes O1, O2, O3, and such. So, right, your first number is up and down. Your second number is back to forward to aft, front to back. Right, so we are 54 frames from the front of the ship.
So does that take people usually a while to get the hang of? Like
we learned in boot camp, but this helps you navigate where you are, right? Here it says 0, we're near the center of the ship. So port and starboard, it'd be 1, 3, 5 for starboard on your right, and 2, 4, 6 for port on your left to tell you how many frames outward from the center to go. Okay. The last letter tells us where we are. L is a living space. Could be a ladderwell. And then how many frames are in the space and what division owns it, so we know if there's a problem, who to go to contact to take care of it. So these steps here to get back out into the upper vehicle stowage are kind of steep and there's no handrail, so please be careful.
And are these
They are posted near the door in every
But these
space.
are like this, so let's say any adversary gets on board. Is it that way that they don't know exactly where to go?
Right.
Like if you were to just put a plain map, it would pretty much map it out for the enemy.
Yes, this
So
is
it's
so
like
we
that.
know where to go and no one else can find out.
Also glow
Like
in
a
the
student
dark,
post
so
back.
if you lose the light.
Oh, they do. They do
It
glow in the dark.
reflects.
Anybody got their phone on them?
Yep.
Turn the light on for me. Let me wear it. But you can see it glows in the dark. Thank you. We're gonna have to shut the door. Well, I might be able to get it. We'll find out. Hang on for me just a second, okay? And we have arrived back in the upper vehicle stowage area. So we're on the second deck right now, right? We came in, go down to the third deck, where the well deck is. That's how you get on the ship. And then the main deck is the primary transit. Right, the subway stop. Those are your flag points, right? Hey, this is where I know I gotta turn left, right, whatever. You use those all around the ship, especially here with the memorabilia everywhere. Kind of makes it a little easier, but you learn to navigate by your little checkpoints. So part of our training is to know how to get outside from your workspace, your sleeping space, and your eating space safely in the first week on board.
Great.
Are we heading back to the
Yep, we're going straight down.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Floyd. We're the 2nd Marine Division. You got Marines staged up here, some JLTVs, some Humvee, and then we've got down there a couple of assault amphibious vehicles, along with an LCAC in the back. So feel free to check it all out. These Marines are around to walk you through like their specialties. We got some motor transport Marines up here, some assault amphibian Marines down there, and then some LCAC operators down that way.
This is a Humvee M1151 A1. This is the A1 behind it is armored. Has a armored windshield, armored turret, armored tires. So the tires we have 2 different kinds of tires for armor and unarmored. There's 24 bolts around it. That means it's armored. If it's less than that, has 12. That means it's unarmored. And this is the comm mount where the radios and stuff sit on there. They equip comm up there, and you can sit it up there. Have radios, have an antenna in the back. Connect the antennas out right here. Back here is usually a spare tire sits, but we obviously took it off and used it. We have to do PMCS on it weekly, so that's the preventive maintenance, checks, and services. So every week, you have to check the fluids, tires, the interior, certain things we use in the truck. So every week, and then it has a monthly.
So this is the interior of the vehicle. The steering wheel's over there. It is a not your traditional Hummer or Humvee. Definitely doesn't look as comfortable, but it is protected against any kind of blast, at least to some degree. And then I guess someone just keeps an eye up there, or you can have a turret up there. All right, so I'm just gonna walk down here and show you guys the different kinds of vehicles, the amphibious vehicles they have on the USS New York. So these are from the Marines. It's pretty cool. Hey, how you doing? Good, good. Can you talk a little bit about this vehicle right here?
Yeah, so this is the assault amphibious vehicle. It's the AAV P7A1 Ram RS. So with this vehicle, its main mission is to be able to take infantry people from ship to shore and inward objectives, and to bring them back to the ship.
So what capabilities does it have that's unique to this vehicle?
The capabilities that are unique to this vehicle. So only thing this is the only one of its kind in entire DoD. So no one else can do what this vehicle does of transferring troops from the ship into the ocean and onto land.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can go inside? Take a look inside? All right, so we're gonna go inside now and check it out. This is where they would sit down as they're going to shore from the ship. So they'll deploy this from the ship. And this opens up right here. Then you can sit along here. They got a fire extinguisher, different kinds of things. It looks like you can stick your head out over there. This is cool. So you would just sit in here. It looks like you can control something. I'm not sure if this is where you drive through, but they have a seat right here. They've got a joystick right over here. And then this is where you'll be able to kind of maintain watch as you're going on the water to the shore.
This thing is basically designed to carry Marines and their equipment from the ship to the shore. Because
Okay.
obviously you don't want the ship trying to land.
Yeah,
You know, and
too
they
close.
can't fly them all. Just it's so they put their equipment on, and this thing can go up to 50 knots. The ship will stay out, a mile or so off the coast. Drop this right here.
This little inflate.
The brow will come down like this. They'll get on the beach. They'll come down. They'll drop, and then they can go ashore. Okay.
How many troops can you fit on here?
Just in the cabins.
Yeah, because you would store vehicles here, right? So how many troops in the cabins?
So we can fit 16 on this side, 9 on this side, so 25 total. We do have a personnel transport module we can put on here, and we can fit up to 180.
So the person in control of this, where do they sit?
Up there.
Oh, right there. Okay. It looks like there's a lot of maintenance that goes into this. I
Oh,
see a lot
yeah.
of moving parts and tubes and...
So tons of maintenance. So again, aside from just the team that drives it, you have to have engineers on here that know how to fix it too, which
Yeah.
they do. They'll deploy with those teams.
Yeah, he told me that they typically sit with the person in command there.
Oh yeah.
This is where you would have someone driving this entire vehicle. So I guess they'll go in this direction right here. Then I think he said an engineer goes in here as well. There's also a couple of seats down here. I think a little more space down here, probably for storage purposes. But this does look very, very spacious. Wow. Just finished with 2 tours of USS New York and USS Cole. We did, of course, USS Indiana in my first Fleet Week video. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out. It is my favorite out of the 3, just because it's a submarine. I mean, that is the coolest thing and the most unique opportunity. So I did manage to get a USS Indiana shirt right now. So this is the submarine that we toured in the first video. And then I got a USS Cole, which is the last ship we saw, the one that was struck in 2000 by a terrorist attack, a suicide bomber. And then USS New York with twin towers on the front, and never forget, which is the ship's motto, as you guys saw. So I'm very excited with these. These are 20, so spent 40 on hats, and this was 20 as well. Oh, I bought this USS Cole. I guess it's a bottle opener and doubles as a, I don't know what, but it looked very cool, and it's from USS Cole. It says deployment 2022, determined warrior, and then it has their emblem on the front side of it. Oh, I think we have the F-22s. Woo! Yeah. So that's the F-22 Raptor, which I've been dying to see. We were supposed to have a video on the Homestead Air Show, which is at the Air Reserve Base. Would have been really cool to see all those aircrafts up close, but traffic was just so bad and it was poorly organized that we ended up not going. So that's why you guys never got that video. This weekend is Fort Lauderdale Air Show. I don't think I will come for it, unfortunately. I have other things to do, but there are a lot of videos scheduled for this channel. So I definitely encourage you guys to subscribe. We check out really cool events. We get invited to really cool events. And of course, I want to thank the Navy, specifically the Navy, for being so accommodating and letting us get a private tour of a submarine and 2 big ships. You can come here on your own as part of the public. Well, at the time that I was signing up for it, it was all closed off. But every year, Fleet Week comes to Fort Lauderdale, Port Everglades. And if you get there in time enough on the website, you can sign up to go on these tours, and you'll go as a group. You'll have a tour guide bringing you through every of these ships. So it is not something that is just closed off to press or anyone with a YouTube channel. No, this is open to the public. Just make sure you do it with enough time. So next year, now you know, Port Everglades, Fleet Week, Navy ships, and the submarine is not always here. So you guys got a little bonus of that on this channel, but you can tour all of these ships if you do it ahead of time.